held her breath as she saw the shadow come up behind Nancy. Moving swiftly through the darkness, the shadow grabbed her by the ponytail from behind and yanked her back forcefully. Nancy let out a scream that made Mrs. Berkeley's heart jump as her legs shot out underneath her, and she landed on the pavement before she was dragged, kicking and screaming, back inside the house. Seeing this, Mrs. Berkeley let go of the drape and took a step away from the window. Sweat sprang to her upper lip, which she had recently had Botoxed. A tic grew evident near her eye as she stared at the window, heart beating fast in her chest. Then she shook her head. "It's none of our business, Daisy dear. It really isn't." She turned to walk away while she could hear Nancy screaming, "Stop it! Stop!" That's when she decided to have that brandy after all, even though she was trying to cut down on the late-night alcohol. She had just grabbed the bottle from the shelf when the shot echoed through the neighborhood. It wasn't the first time Mrs. Berkeley drank an entire bottle of brandy before bedtime, but it was the first time she drank it straight from the bottle. Part 1. 5 years later. Sykes Creek, Merritt Island, Florida. Chapter 1. "Is this the right way to do it, Dad?" Brian Nelson looked at his son, Max, holding the shrimp between his fingers while putting it on the hook. Brian couldn't help but smile. He had wanted to take his son fishing for as long as he could remember, but his wife had told him no. After being in an accident as a child, Terry was terrified of boats and didn't want her kid out on one of them. There was nothing Brian could say or do to make her change her mind, and during his upbringing, she had instilled her fears into the boy, making him scared of anything to do with water, and especially boats. Now they were separated, and Brian had decided to take the boy fishing. Brian had fished all his life and held some of his dearest memories with his late father doing just that. Why rob his son of that? Brian was only sad that he'd waited so long to do it. He had listened to Terry for way too long, and in that way missed out on many great adventures and hours spent with his son. It was time to change that now. Time to make memories that would last them both a lifetime.
"Yes, that's perfect, son," he said. "Now watch me as I cast first, and I'll help you cast yours too, okay?"
The boy gleamed up at his father, then nodded. Brian cast his line, and it plopped in the water far away. "Whoa!" the boy exclaimed when seeing how far his dad had thrown the line. His big eyes stared up at him, and Brian felt like a superhero. It wasn't a feeling he'd experienced a lot in his time as a father. Terry had always told him he was worthless, and that he could do nothing right. And maybe it was true. Brian hadn't accomplished much in life if you looked at it from the outside. He still worked in the same boat shop he had as a teenager when it was just a part-time job. But that was only because he really enjoyed it. He liked helping people finding the right boat for them, and he absolutely loved being out on the water himself. And these were people who shared that same passion. His passion for boating and fishing made him the best salesman the store had, and the owner, Old Hubbard, had told him if he kept this up, he might let him take over the store once he decided to retire. He didn't have a son, and Brian was the closest he had to one.
"Now it's your turn,"
Brian said with a sniffle. He walked up behind his son and helped grab the pole between his small hands, then slung the line out in the still water, where the hook with the shrimp plunged in.
"That was a pretty good throw there, son,"
he said, patting the boy on the shoulder. That made the boy stand up straight with pride. He was getting so tall, and soon he'd be taller than his father. This was the time to enjoy him, to bond. In a few years, it would be too late. Brian was going to get in trouble for taking the boy fishing today. He was supposed to be in school. Terry was going to rip his head off when she found out. Yet he did it anyway. This was his only chance. If he asked first, he knew the answer. Terry wasn't the boss of him anymore. Max was his son, too.
"So, now we wait and keep an eye on the pole, okay, son?"
he asked.